Mic check, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Okay, everybody ready? Everybody here okay? Sorry to keep you waiting, but before we came out and started talking, we wanted to be sure that Frank Rainwater and the Board of Economic Advisors weren't going to forecast another $1 billion or so, since they forecast the last $1.4 billion in just a few months. So the good news is, it's all good news, is this economy, our economy, is humming, just like we planned it. We got people wanting to live here. As long as we educate the young people, keep things safe, keep taxes low, and get the right kind of businesses in and do the smart things, we're going to be just great. South Carolina, I think, is outpacing the rest of the country. And there are a lot of states, a lot of competition, particularly in the Southeast. But we are doing well, so I want to particularly thank the members of the General Assembly. There are a lot of people to thank for advice, guidance, and information, and a lot of hard work. But the General Assembly really worked well, and I appreciate it. My cabinet appreciates it, and we're looking for even more and better next year. But this budget, as I say, we got forecasts coming in $1.4 billion more than we thought that we were going to have. Our budget now is $14 billion, and that's, well, we're not spending all of that 1.4. We're only spending about half of it because we're conservative, and this is a conservative budget. It's a good budget. It's one of the best, and that's why I've only got a handful of vetoes, just 11 vetoes, and I don't think any of them, maybe one or two, only involve money. So I want to thank everybody for participating, and just I'll answer your questions, but just to take a look, overview, is this fiscal year 25-26 includes a record of 80% of the budget proposals that we made, that I made in my office. It includes an income tax cut, another one, full funding, finally, full funding of the armed, certified, full-time school resource officer in every public school in South Carolina. Now, that's an important thing. I don't know of another state that has that. We have, I think it's 1,284 schools. And when I started on this effort of urging to have those officers, we had about 430 schools had a resource officer. Now, when I say a resource officer, I mean a trained, certified, gone to the academy, taken all the tests, taken the classes, and passed the physical fitness and everything else. Armed, fully certified, educated resource officer. We had about 430, and until now, we're 177 schools short. Well, this budget provides enough money for every school to have one. And ladies and gentlemen, that makes a big difference, not only for the safety of the children and the teachers and all of those at the school, but also the confidence and comfort of the parents to know that's one more thing they do not have to worry about. So that's very important. Also, we're getting the teacher pay raise. We're going to make it, I asked, when I came in the office, we were at about $33,000 for a minimum salary for a starting teacher in South Carolina, a qualified, certified teacher. We are now, with this budget, we're at 48,500. That's not enough. I had asked the legislature to give us 50,000 by next year. I wish we'd gotten 50,000 this year, because our teachers, without the very best teachers, and we got great teachers, but they won't stay teaching if we don't pay them. But we are now at 48,500, and that is the minimum starting pay. And what my request was and is, and goal is that to be at least, emphasis on at least 50,000 for starting minimum salary for a brand new teacher by next year, and I'm confident that we're going to get there. We've had law enforcement raises. We're freezing college tuition. College tuition's expensive. You got room and board and all that on top of that, but again, we're freezing the college tuition. We've made key investments in infrastructure. If you go out and look at the roads, a lot of roads being repaired. And by the way, we have more state highways, more miles of state highways in South Carolina, I think, than any other state, not because we have more miles of roads, but just because most of our roads are state highways, even though in another state they may not be a state highway, and ours they are. So we're making great progress there. In workforce development, we have training programs. We are I think we're the only state in the country that has programs with our magnificent technical college system, where if you have a business in this country or any other, and you want to see if there's a workforce available to support you in South Carolina, we will send a team to your country and study your manufacturing processes or others and develop a curriculum at our technical college system to train our workers in South Carolina to work in your plant. Nobody else does that. We have so many things that we have done over the years to get stronger and stronger, and that is why when you look at the economic forecast by the Board of Economic Advisors, you see them just going up and up and up in South Carolina. So that is good news, and we do have some. I'll flip through some of the vetoes. Well, what y'all all got the vetoes? Who wants to ask a question?
Governor, one of your vetoes is allowing tier 4 school districts, tier 4 counties, hire private security companies to act security.
It's to disallow that.
Why not allow private security companies if those schools are having a hard time finding school resource officers?
Well, those school resource officers, that is a technical term. That means someone who has gone to the academy, has taken all the tests, has taken all the examinations, all the training that's required. That's where those resource officers must come from. It must be qualified to be a deputy sheriff or a sheriff. It has to have that high qualifications. What this bill sought was for a school district just to be able, or a school to hire somebody, to have a private company find somebody and hire them. You can't do that under state law. To be a school resource officer, you have to have all those qualifications.
Are you worried that some of the school districts in those poor rural areas are having trouble finding?
They are, yeah, they are. But under state law right now, if a school over in one place can't find an officer, they can have an officer from another school district, another certified police officer, to come and work in their school. That is, they can share. And that's what they ought to do. What we don't want is unqualified people that have not had the training, that have not had met all the qualifications to be posted as a school resource officer when they're not qualified to do that. This is serious business, and we have to be sure that those that are on guard, on duty, and teaching and mentoring a lot of children at the same time, that they meet that high qualification. That bill would have skirted around that. And it's not necessary. We're paying well. And if they can, as long as they can borrow, one municipality can borrow, a school district can borrow from another municipality that is using those offices, then there should be no problem.
You let the in-district compensation increase go through.
Let the what?
The lawmaker in-district compensation increase go through from $1,000 to $1,500, let's say $2,500. Are you worried about the implications on the pension for newer lawmakers who their compensation is now?
I know there was a lot of debate on that, and the purpose of that bill was to raise the in-district expenses. I know there are in-district expenses. It's been a debate that's gone for a long time, and I'm confident that they've gone up since whenever the last time was that they were raised, 1994 or something like that, I believe. So that's what they asked, and I'm relying on the good faith of the legislature. They say that it's gone up that much. They are the ones that are trying to pay those expenses. I'm in good faith, if they use that money for the in-district expenses as they're supposed to, then if that amount is legitimate, then that's a proper law. Now, whatever implications there are outside of that, will be the worry of those who are taking advantage of the law. That is, the lawmakers themselves will have to explain that.
Governor, do you know next year's budget also does not have earmarks, or do you think you're in place for them and they should be brought back in that grant program that you proposed?
I think the grant program, this earmarks, the problem with earmarks, the way they've been, it's not the earmark itself. It's not the amount of money. There's a lot of things that need money, and most of them can be addressed in the regular legislation. That is, by having hearings and discussing it so everybody will know what's involved. But the danger is the secrecy. It's the taxpayers' money, and the taxpayers need to be able to know where it's going, why it's going, who's going to spend it, how much is going to be spent, and otherwise. As long as the funds that are spent in this budget or another are spent properly, as long as they are spent with the citizens having the ability to know exactly what it's being spent on, then I'm okay. But what I'm asking is if a lot of money goes to a particular agency with just a broad definition and no one knows exactly where it's going to be spent, including the agency, then I'm asking the agency to get that information and make it public. The goal is every dime of this $14.1 billion budget, every dime needs to be open. The citizens need to know where it's going, why it's going, who proposed it, and who's going to be spending it, and what it's expected to do. If we're not doing that, then we're not doing our job. Well, we all been working together for a long time. Since I arrived in January of 17, I think it's very much, many of us are like a family. We go back a long ways. And generally, if you communicate, collaborate, and cooperate, you try to understand the other fellow's point of view. And sometimes he's right and I'm wrong. Sometimes it's the other way. Sometimes we're talking about the same thing, just using different words. But that's the rule that we use in my office is in the agencies, when dealing with the public, when dealing with members of the legislature, communicate, collaborate, cooperate. That works best every time. So when we have a lot of conferences in my office, I have a lot of telephone calls. I see a lot of the members in various places and hear from a lot of citizens out there about what's going on. But as long as you're talking about it and you you're trying to understand what the people need and what we're able to do. Keep the conversation open, keep it above board, no point in getting angry. It works every time. And that's something we do with the agents, cabinet agencies as well. There's a lot of transfer, a lot of cross-pollination, a lot of discussion among agency members. Back in the old days, nobody talked to anybody. And you'd often find two agencies going in opposite directions, all trying to do the same thing and duplicating efforts. We've gotten over that. And that's why this reorganization we've done with Department of Mental Health, DHEC, all of those things are great steps forward. Because also, not only do we all communicate, collaborate, and cooperate, but with this reorganization we've done of these agencies, making them cabinet agencies, everybody out there knows if something goes wrong in that agency, they can come to me. And that'll be that way in the future for other governors as well.
Governor, you started off by making a joke about Frank Rainwater finding $1 billion, or certifying an additional $1 billion.
Yeah.
Are you satisfied with the way he is projecting revenue into the state? Is he being too conservative?
He's pretty conservative, but as you know from this go-around, he was conservative because the actual forecast now is 1.4 billion more than they thought it was 5 months ago. That's good news. He runs a tight ship.
Do you think he needs to be more forward with some of these revenue figures earlier in the process?
I think he's doing a great job. I mean, it's impossible to, even the weatherman with all the technology they have now, they can't predict the weather clearly. But he's doing an excellent job. The danger is not when he predicts less. The danger is if he predicts more and we don't have it. That used to happen. It has not happened since I've been here.
Governor, going back to the in-district compensation increase, there's been some talk of possibly a lawsuit over that. Are you worried about the potential for a challenge?
You say for the in-district expense? Well, it'll be an interesting lawsuit. I understand the issues involved, but again, that's the General Assembly determined that they needed that in-district expense. It seemed, according to what they were saying, that it is reasonable. Now, some people might think it's too high, others might think it's too low, but they can explain that. And if there's a legal challenge, then so be it. We'll see how it works out.
Anything else? Good. Thank you.
Remember, this is a great budget, and the next one next year is going to be even better than this year. Okay.